entrepreneurship is not the solution. It's not a solution, it's a problem. And it's a big problem. And it's the hardest problem that you will ever introduce into your life.
Welcome to the Fuel Hunt Show.
What's going on, Eagles? I'm Joey. I'm here with Drew, and this is the Fuel Hunt Show. Drew and I are co-founders of Fuel Hunt. Drew is also my cousin, because one thing that a lot of people don't know is Fuel Hunt is a family affair. It's a family business.
Family business,
right?
As Kanye would say.
Yes, yeah. And even our team members that aren't blood family are like play cousins. You ever hear that term before? It's like basically like family, but not like blood family. You know what I mean? Like Car's over there working hard. Car's Mama Rose is in the back here.
And then also they're connected via family.
So there you go. So it's a family business. Fitting comment to open the show with today, because I want to talk about business, specifically entrepreneurship, and even more specifically, the truth about entrepreneurship. So we had a Rules of the Few episode, I think, scheduled for today, but I was inspired to switch it up and talk about entrepreneurship today because last week, and actually over the weekend, I spoke to a few Eagles from Fuel Hunt Rise, which is our private community. If you're not familiar, we could probably spend a whole episode talking about Fuel Hunt Rise. We won't.
We should.
Yeah. We won't take that turn right now, but maybe at the end of the episode, we'll give the Eagles, the few that are watching and listening, some information on Fuel Hunt Rise. I don't think we talk about it enough.
No,
we don't.
No, we don't market it enough.
Yeah, we don't. We don't talk about it enough. So at the end of the show,
if you are lucky enough to find out about it, and you're in there,
yeah, you're there for a reason.
Exactly.
So at the end of the show, we'll talk a little bit about Fuel Hunt Rise, but let's bring it back. So last week and over the weekend, I was speaking to a few Eagles, Rise Eagles, so members of our private Fuel Hunt community, Fuel Hunt Rise, and they're all starting some type of business or brand, which I absolutely love to see. So we have a number of people starting personal brands, in the jiu-jitsu space, and then we have some businesses, some professional brands starting up as well in the, I guess, fitness space. Think of like Henrik doing his Average to Warrior and things like that. So in speaking to them, I was inspired to do this episode with you because I know we have a duty to them to tell them the truth about entrepreneurship, and not in a way that deters them from pursuing their dream, but in a real way. Because what is not real is the portrayal of entrepreneurship on the gram nowadays, on Instagram, yachts, Lambos, and etc.
It's funny, people get into entrepreneurship because they think that entrepreneurship equals Benzes, Lambos, fancy things in rooms with successful, famous people, etc. When realistically, entrepreneurship is the complete opposite, and it's fucking grinding for your freedom and grinding to make sure your bills are paid.
Yeah, it's grimy, it's grinding, it's I don't want to spoil my first truth, but for today, what we'll do is we'll go back and forth on some truths. Sound good? All right, let me drop the first one. So we're going to follow your lead here, and you're saying that entrepreneurship is not, right? I'm going to riff off that. So here's my first truth that the few need to know. Anybody really that's going to start a brand or a business. Entrepreneurship is not the solution. It's not a solution, it's a problem. And it's a big problem, and it's the hardest problem that you will ever introduce into your life. I feel like nowadays, everybody looks to entrepreneurship because it's been glorified. They look to it as a solution. It's a solution for their boss that they dislike. It's a solution for their shitty schedule, that they don't like, right? It's a solution for what they believe, the freedom that they don't have. It's a solution. So in reality, it's a big problem. Like when you bite the bullet and become an entrepreneur, you are introducing the hardest problem, the hardest challenge into your life. It's probably the hardest career path known to modern man and woman, I would say, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny. Sometimes you say things and think about things sometimes, and I'm like, damn, like I didn't even fucking position it that way in my mind. Like you think like outside of the box, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, he's so smart.
I don't know if it's smart or crazy, but I appreciate the compliment. But I do try to step, because when you're so close to something, you never see it clearly. Like, so I always try to step back. And like the glorification of entrepreneurship, really, like I said, it's people looking to it for a solution. And I'm not saying, and we'll get into this maybe with some other hard truths about entrepreneurship later, but I'm not saying that it won't solve your schedule, it won't solve the boss issue, it won't solve the freedom issue. I'm not saying it won't, but the first thing, the hardest truth you need to know is before there's any solutions, there's a big fucking problem that presents itself.
I agree. And like you said, it can't be your escape or like your solution to your problem, because you're going to just be presented with a lot more.
Yep.
On a day-to-day basis, it's what problems can I solve? You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. It takes, and you tell me how you feel about this statement, right? I feel like entrepreneurship takes more than it gives, especially in the early phases. And meaning it takes more from you than it gives to you. Like you have to give 10x just to get 2x back.
I might even disagree with that, because I feel like it takes even more in the latter phases. You know what I mean? Like you always say, like new levels, new devils, right? So it almost, things that were hard for you in the beginning become easier, but then new things get harder.
Yeah, that's the whole paradox between like it's hard to start and achieve, but it's even harder to keep it and maintain it, right?
Yes, but with every day that passes, though, like it does grow easier and more rewarding. Like every day you're doing the thing you love to do.
Yep.
It fulfills you more. Like I do truly believe that.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think that, proper expectation is like it will take more, but what it gives in return is more valuable than what it takes, maybe. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And to your problem point, but people think like, oh, I'll just start a business, right? Like when realistically it takes a different caliber of individual to succeed at business. And I've learned this firsthand, because I always try and convince people to start businesses, right? Like I don't, it's like I don't know what to call it, but it's like my secret to success, I guess. But I say, oh, like you should really start a business, like if you want more free time, right? Like, or if you want to be with your family more, if you hate what you're doing, if you hate your job. And so I'm a culprit of convincing people.
Bro, same here. I used to convince every person I met to become an entrepreneur, even when I was an entrepreneur, even when I knew better.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was on the other side where I was receiving gifts from it. You know what I mean? And I was able to use it as a personal development journey. So like I was seeing the positive stuff, and I forgot to really paint the challenging stuff. But dude, I used to convince everybody, or try to convince everybody, you start a business, you start. The reality of it is it's not for fucking everybody. No, it's not. It takes a special MFer. You know what I mean? To get involved in this game. I've learned that with
people that I've convinced, right? I've helped them get started, build their brand, build their logo.
Yep.
And then it's like things get hard, and then they just disappear. And I'm like, well, where the...
Let me ask you a question. What's this thing the kids do nowadays, is red flag thing? Isn't there some kind of like a red flag?
White flag, beige flag.
Whatever. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
When somebody comes to you and they say, what I'm talking about, though. A little flag, red flag emoji. It's like a thing. I don't know. You know me, dude. I ain't up on all this shit.
You're on the gram.
So, I mean, I am for the community, and other than that, I'm not. So let me ask you a question. What are some red flag statements that you hear from somebody when they want to start a business that now gives you the indication that like, they might not be suited for it?
One thing that stands out, you just put me on the spot with that question, but like something about like, oh, like working at night, like I need more free time, or like, I don't want to work on the weekends or something like that. Like, and people always ask me like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, I'm working. Like, yes, do we find time to do things with people? Yes. Like, obviously I build that in, but every day is the same to me. Like I wake up, I do the same things every single day.
Predictability, man. It's a precursor of progress.
So a red flag would be something about not being willing to work on nights and or weekends because it's all hours and they're all days.
Yep. How about I want to be my own boss? That's one, right? That's one. And again, there's some truth in it.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I hear it from folks, it's a red flag for me.
I would say though, I mean, in that way, phrased that way, it does sound like a red flag. But to me, like, I fucking hated being told what to do. Like, that was a big driver for the reason I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to control my time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Would you agree though that your lens was wider? So, you wanted to do things on your terms and you wanted to be in charge of your time, but your lens was wider. You knew that you needed to spend that time serving others. You knew that you could self-start, self-regulate, self-manage. Like, you knew all of that. So, right. I feel like, there are times when you hear that red flag and it's like the personal development behind it that's required hasn't been built yet.
And you say a interesting thing there, the self-manage. And I've learned that not everyone can do that. Like
No.
You learn that with hiring. Like, that's another thing you learn in entrepreneurship. And this is a bonus tip.
Bonus
But
bonus truth.
yeah, bonus truth. But like, as you hire, you're like, wow, like, this person has no idea how to self-regulate or self-manage.
I mean, these are all skills that are built. They're not bought. They're not, they're not born with them, they're built skills, and you have to kind of go through the war, wage the war to acquire them. All right. So we talked about some, my first hard truth. It's not a solution. It's a problem. And it's the biggest fucking problem you're ever going to introduce into your life in a good way. How about you? What do you got? A hard truth for everyone out there that wants to, you can't dip your toe in, you got to dive in to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about saving this one for last, but
You do. Run it.
all right. So no one is going to care as much about your business or your dream as you do, is my truth. And that applies to customers, vendors, employees.
Yeah. I mean, it's your vision. You can't expect them to see it.
No.
Right? I mean,
And there are times,
at least out of the gate.
No, exactly. Well, no one's going to see the vision unless you paint it for them. We know that. But as you scale and grow and do business every single day, it's like you start to run into more problems than you're ready for. And you expect people to work as hard as you are for your business or your dream. But realistically, they can't want it as bad as you do. And nor will they be as committed to your dream as you are.
Yeah. Not on the outset, right? Definitely not on the outset. If you do find someone that believes in it and sees it as clearly as you do from day one, that's a very special person to have on your team and in your life, right? And we've been blessed with many of those people, which blessed and we've had that outlook from the gate. So I think we were blessed and we also built that, right? But do you think? Let me ask you a question on that topic. Do you think that hard truth that you just dropped, do you think that keeps people from starting? Do you think that they run into that truth almost immediately and they're like, or I'll say it begins the quitting process for them?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, each day that passes in entrepreneurship, there's more and more things that are going to pop up that are going to make you feel like quitting or giving up, right? And you just have to literally keep going and survive long enough to do business the next day. There was a quote that I sent you the one time. It was like, anybody can start
One steep if you will hunt. No, is that that one? Oh, okay.
It's like everybody has great ideas and great dreams, but they'll either run out of money or run out of time before they make them a reality.
That's true. So I like that hard truth that you dropped. I think that's one that definitely starts the quitting process and the erosion of commitment, right? And every day, every minute almost, it must be all commit, zero quit. That's it. There's no way around it. You have to have that zero option mentality. Because like you said, at every fucking turn, there's a reason to quit. Every turn. And if it's not a hard reason, like a team issue, a financial issue, a brand building issue, something, it's a softer issue, meaning you got your feelings hurt because you put a lot of time and effort into a product or a this or that, and it didn't go over well, or someone criticized it. And even, I call that a softer issue, but you know what I mean by that. You know what I mean? It's in the grand scheme of things, it's minutia, not as serious as the other issues that could pop up. But around every turn, there's a reason to quit. So, that could be another bonus hard truth, I guess. Like you will never want to quit so much in your life.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Right? Yeah. You will never want to quit so much in your life. It's I think a lot of people, like, maybe they'll go to the gym or, some other activity. The gym's always, a relatable one. They'll go to the gym and maybe they want to quit during their workout like once or twice. We're talking about like every fucking day wanting to quit like 10 to 15 times. Mm-hmm. That's how difficult it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny. Like we talk about it like that, and a lot of other entrepreneurs will say the similar sentiments, right? Like, and I don't think you can truly grasp it. Like a lot of times, like Cody Sanchez, like she posts a lot of things like that are relatable for entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
and I'm always like,
Cody's great.
You know what I mean? Like you don't really like truly understand until you're actually living it.
You don't know how hot the fire is till it burns.
Exactly.
You don't understand it.
Exactly.
And it's like being man or woman on fire, in a good way, right? You got all this passion to build something that, leaves a legacy and impacts the world, but you're like fucking on fire, dude. Like you're constantly trying to put out everything you touch, you create another fire, and you're like constantly trying to put shit out, So that's an excellent hard truth. Let me take a turn, if you don't mind. And I'll drop another hard truth. And this goes back to what I was saying with the like takes and gives a little earlier on. I said that it takes more from you than it gives to you. I want to hit on the gives aspect of that. Again, like I see a lot of people start their entrepreneurial journeys because they're obsessed with what they're going to get from it, what they're going to get from it. So they're going to get freedom. They're going to get power, meaning that they don't have somebody looking over them like a boss. They're going to get money. They're going to get a Lambo. They're going to get a yacht. They're going to get. Entrepreneurship is the exact opposite of that. Yeah. It's giving. That's so true. It's giving. It is the exact opposite. So, and this harkens all the way back to a rule of the few, to get give, right? If I had to define, and I just sent an email to the community about this, maybe it was a week or two ago, I define a brand as one word, give. And if I had to define an entrepreneur, I would say the same thing, give. There's probably all sorts of definitions of entrepreneurs out there. How would you define it? I don't know. Yeah. Somebody that operates a business, like you look it up in the dictionary, give. Yeah. There's other ones out there, someone who takes more risks than they do rewards. Like there's all sorts of shit. I'm gonna keep it real simple. Give. You will not get anything unless you give of yourself to your people, to your product, to your purpose, whatever type of business you're starting, whatever your entrepreneurial journey looks like, you must give. You got to give 10x to get 2x back. 100%.
I agree with that 100%.
Yep. I also feel like if and when you make it through this entrepreneurial journey, I think everybody, there's nothing wrong with money, right? Everybody, when they start out as an entrepreneur, they want maybe financial freedom, right? Some type of freedom. But I think as you get deeper and deeper into this journey, some of those wants, especially the material wants, they fall away.
Fade away, yeah.
If you're doing it right, because if you're doing it right, you realize, and I'll probably spoil some other hard truths, but you realize that the real gift of entrepreneurship is like who you become in the process, right? And who you are able to serve and help in the process. And then that material stuff kind of fades away, or at least it did for me,
Yeah. You realize what's actually important.
Yeah. All right. So, I wanted to hit on that. That would be my second, hard truth, which is the definition of an entrepreneur is give. The definition of a brand, whatever you're building, is give. And you're going to have to give 10x more for 10x longer than you think before you get anything out of it. Yeah.
I agree. You made a point there that I was going to comment on, but I almost died of a coughing fit. So.
I'm glad you're still here with us. One other thing before I volley back to you for another truth that I want to hit on is know, like, and trust. You know, you're familiar as entrepreneurs. We're all familiar with know, like, and trust. It's something that you need to build with your customers, you know, with your community on the journey, so that they know that you are trustworthy and that you have their best interest in mind, or your product, right, has real value to solve a problem in their life, right? Know, like, and trust. I feel like that's a foreign concept to a lot of people starting out with entrepreneurship. And again, it's all me focused. Yep. But it's not about you, it's about them.
It's like I always say, like, you and I were always behind the scenes, but like every other brand you see the entrepreneur flex on the gram, right? Like, oh, like, this is us doing this, like, blah, blah, blah. And like we didn't do that for the first.
Bro, for the first, 6 years? Like, we just started doing this now.
Exactly. Like, we were so focused on building something great before we ever talked about doing it.
Building something great that served others, you know? And that's where all of our energy was channeled. And even right now, we're only doing this because I feel like we have a duty. Yeah. That's the whole thing behind this episode, the truth. Like, we need to tell the truth because there's so much mistruth out there, and especially on social media.
It also goes back to the know, like, and trust, that we believe that there's a duty of us to connect with our people and let them see who's behind the brand, who's building these products, who's doing the designs, who's actually behind this business. Yep. But I'll give a surprise tip for, this is like, we do the coaching thing where we help entrepreneurs, but branding is so much more than your logo. This goes to the know, like, and trust thing, right? It's how people feel about your business when they see your logo or see your business name, right? And that goes into not only the logo, but the content you're putting out, the way you're communicating with customers, how you deliver your product, right? So when you think brand, like, and building something that people know, like, and trust, like, think about all the factors that go into it.
Yeah, the brand's two things: the brand's identity and experience, right? So, and you hit everything. It's the experience that you provide your community members and your customers, the full experience, not just the experience of what happens when they open the box and there's some customer delight inside. We're talking about the full gamut, like we have, the Fuel Hunt experience. It's not just about when the box shows up. Daily, you're getting inspirational content, right, on our public community. Weekly, you're getting these podcast episodes. You're getting SMS messages from you. You're getting emails from me to help inspire you and give you science-based tools to work hard. Monthly, you're getting 30 for 30 challenges, right, to break bad habits, build better habits, get you tougher physically and mentally, right? Yearly, the Misogi, we'll be doing our first one here at HQ, which is going to be exciting, in February. That's the Fuel Hunt experience.
Well, that's all the badass products too.
I left those out.
There we go, focusing on the.
I left those out, but you're right. Yeah. And all the badass gear, the gear for growth.
Yeah.
So that's the full experience. That is brand, you know? And you can take some of those other things out that you spoke about, like, you know, emotion, who you are, what you're capable of, and they all wrap up under the identity. You know, and a lot of people don't get that. That's why I'm saying, like, we have a duty to explain that at this point. The know, like, and trust thing, here's the thing that I find so wild about it, and why I wanted to bring up know, like, and trust during this show. Would you agree that trust is probably the hardest thing to build and earn in life? And I'm not talking about trust as it relates to a business sense. I'm zoom out on trust. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Okay. You would also agree that's the easiest thing to lose?
Correct. Okay. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
So if the brand is trust, right? Okay. What makes people think that they can buy a system for $4.99 that has 10 easy steps that they can repeat half-ass for 3 months and build a multi-million-dollar enterprise that leaves a lasting impact on the world? Trust is so hard to build at the personal level. Bro, half the people out there battle with trust on a daily basis just with themselves, let alone building something, right? And then providing so much value that they have 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 people trusting in it. Like, you need to know from the gate, this shit is not a solution. It's a problem. It's the hardest problem ever. And one of the key things that you have to solve in that problem is building something of value that's in service to others that they trust.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And can I jump in? And
I went on a little bit of a rant there, so sorry, but jump in.
This leads into my
you got another one.
my
Let's
second
go.
truth.
Boom. Let's say that.
There is no perfect solution, right? There's no one thing you can buy for $4.99 that's going to lead to meteoric success. Like, I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs I talk to, they're like, oh, I just need this one thing. I just need this one thing. And it's never one big sale. It's never one big client. It's never one big system that gets added that turns into 10x growth. It's consistent, small improvements made on a daily basis that help you grow. What's the word I'm looking for? Incrementally, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on all like the programs out there and the courses and stuff because there's value in them. If anything, I see people go wrong because they buy the shit and then they start the 10 steps and then they get to step 7 and they're like, I'm gonna put my flair on this. And they don't even execute the thing fully. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of great knowledge out there to help you time collapse, but you're right. It's never just that one thing.
And that's where all of these things and all these coaches and mentors and services provide their most value is they don't solve your problems. They time collapse. They allow you to figure out your problems faster.
Yep.
And that's why I recommend
And then they can come to the table and say, hey, look, like, and these are the solutions that we tried that worked and the solutions that we tried that, and then tailor them to
these
your
people have
business.
been where you are before. They know exactly the roadmap to get to where you want to go.
Yep. I don't think I even mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but I said I had been speaking to some community members in Rise, some Rise Eagles. They were on those coaching calls that we offer in Rise. And I hesitate to even call them I guess they are, but I hesitate to even call them coaching calls. The way, like mine, my little, what's that service you set up?
Calendar.
Yeah, exactly. So that we can book the calls. Mine says let's connect.
Yeah.
Let's connect. Let's talk about the challenge you have. Right? I'm here to bring my experience to this call because chances are I've been through it, whether it's personal or professional. I've been through the shit. I'm here to bring my experience, right? So that you can tailor your effort and time collapse. I mean, that's what it is, you know? So I don't want to shit on all the programs out there. I highly, highly recommend getting a coach and mentor, someone that is living the life that you want to live and has built the thing you want to build. I highly recommend that.
I agree.
Highly recommend that. But putting so much faith in just the one thing or getting the one thing and then, 75% of the way through of it, deciding you're going to put your own spin on it. Don't do that. Like, just run the play.
Or focusing on the one client to solve all your problems.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I'm glad we touched on know, like, and trust because I wanted to do that and explain or at least give some color around the fact that trust is something that's very difficult to build even within yourself. You can't expect that you're going to show up on the scene, do something consistently for 3 months, and then all of a sudden have the trust of half the world to scale and grow your community or your business. It's just not going to, you know what I mean? Not going to. You say you got to show up every day, swing the hammer.
Yeah.
Right? Every day.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Every day. So we're throwing some truths around. Do you have another truth that you want to share?
I did have one more. But the no easy solution for all your problems was kind of my second one. But
okay, so we hit on that.
I'll give my last one that I wanted. This was a game-changing truth for my life and my business, right? Mm-hmm. But it is brought to us by the one and only Jocko Willing. Mm-hmm. And he says you have to take extreme ownership for every single problem you have, right? Like, no matter what it is, it's your fault. So I apply that not only to life, but also business, where, like, if something goes wrong or something's not turning out the way you wanted it to turn out, the only person you need to be pointing the finger at is yourself. Yep. And a lot of times entrepreneurs get caught up blaming other people for their problems, right? It was that client, that vendor, this employee. But realistically, if the client didn't know the expectation, if the employee doesn't know how things operate in your business, right? Or if the vendor wasn't aware of the timeline, it ultimately ends with you.
Yeah, all roads lead back to you.
That's 100% the
Yeah,
truth.
all roads lead back to you.
And if you apply that to your life, you will literally see game-changing results.
Yeah, some of these, I mean, one important point here is some of these truths, you know, don't just relate to entrepreneurship. They're life truths. And I think the most powerful truths about entrepreneurship are at their core truths about life, you know, relationships and personal development, really. All right, so let me, on that, that's a nice little segue into my last truth that I would like to give to the few, and that's entrepreneurship is not going to work out for you unless you do this one thing. And it's directly in line with what you just said. If you are looking to build a business or build a community, you must first build yourself. And you must keep building yourself along the way, right? What entrepreneurship provides to you are all the challenges and problems you need to do so. But you must, and I wish I knew this from day one, building a business is so much easier when you're focusing on building yourself, your mental health, your physical health, right? Your habits and things like that. I see a lot of people get involved in entrepreneurship, a game that requires a serious amount of discipline and ownership, that can't grab the reins of discipline for themselves and their personal lives when it comes to their fitness and their nutrition and all that. If they could do that first, entrepreneurship and building is that much easier. So that's like the one thing I think that makes entrepreneurship a bit easier, taking the reins on your own life and building yourself to be, you know, a human weapon, you know, mind, body, spirit.
That goes back to my favorite quote.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
How you do anything is how
but
you do
I don't make
everything.
my bed, bro. I'm going to listen, I'm going to be honest.
We'll talk about that offline.
I'll be honest. I don't got time for that, man.
Bro.
I got time for that. I don't make my bed. I mean, I arrange the covers in a neat.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we're not in the military. It'll probably be like, I don't know, bounce a cord off of it.
I don't know. I thought that's how you did it.
No, you just have to generally be neat.
Okay, yeah. I subscribe.
Okay,
I subscribe. I subscribe to that. I subscribe to it.
But it's very rare that you'll find someone who's like dialed in nutrition and fitness that isn't also dialed in their business life too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the point, right? To build a great business, you have to build a great you. I mean, that's what it is. And I'll hit you with, I won't put you on the spot because I don't know if you're going to get it. Well, fuck it. Let's do it. What is one of my favorite quotes from, I'll give you a hint.
No, I know.
The all-time GOAT.
I know who
my
said
boy.
It. Jim Rohn.
Yep. My boy. Wish I could have met him. What is one of my all-time favorite quotes of his that relates to this?
And it's only on the forefront of my mind because I have Parker reading. Well, he's
pro move.
He's getting read. He's got the Audible.
Like, that's good. No, that's good.
Work harder on yourself than you do on your job.
Yes.
Damn, I thought that was it. Because
it's kind of the same quote.
That's the rule. That's the pillar.
Yeah, that's pillar. His quote is, your level of income
will rarely exceed your level of personal development.
Exactly, right? So your business, the level of your business, the growth of your business will rarely exceed the growth of you as a human or the level that you're on. And I think that's a perfect way to sum up that last hard truth. So before we let the gang go, before we let the few off to do the hard work that you know that they're destined to do, let's talk about Fuel Hunt Rise quickly because I made that promise on the beginning at the beginning of the show here. So everybody knows about our public community, right, on Instagram primarily, but we also have a private community which is Fuel Hunt Rise. Right. So if you're serious about accelerating your growth and time collapsing your growth, Fuel Hunt Rise is for you. It has both growth and gear benefits, right? So the growth side of things, you want to talk, give some of the growth benefits?
Yeah. In there, we are doing multiple times a month. We have a lot of high-performing athletes, influencers, business people that have done great things, built great businesses, achieved a lot in life that are coming through with sharing their stories with the community and giving us realistically tips on how to be a high performer ourselves.
Yeah, giving us that wisdom, all the hard lessons that they learned, right? Helping us time collapse. Now, one thing that's important to point out is the speakers that we have in Fuel Hunt Rise that come in, they are all living the rules of the few, right? And they are all living lives that the few aspire to live. So like we can check that box when we go through and through our network, or we meet somebody new, we always run them through the rules of the few to vet them to say, like, is this the right person for the community? So one thing to mention. So we have the speakers a couple times a month. What else we got? We got
growth-wise, we got
30.
the 30 for 30, but that's also on our public.
I was going to say the calls.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yes, the 30-minute coaching calls with Joey and I. So once a month, you can schedule a call with Joey and or myself, and we will dissect your problems. I mean, realistically, it's like business coaching built in, because I'm working with Malachi, our young. That kid's going to be a fucking animal by the time he's like 16, 17, but
he's such a beast.
Like, we're working on building his first business already, and like
it's amazing.
He's already got he's surrounded himself with a lot of heavy hitting people, but so he's very dialed, but we're already working through problems, and he has homework for. Nice. I saw he just scheduled his first call for next month, or this month.
Yep.
So looking forward to breaking that down with him to see how much progress he's made.
Yep. I mean, I've done some personal. So I've had some conversations with community members about personal brand. I've had some conversations about professional brand. I've had some relationship type calls.
Oh, really?
I've had some mindset type stuff. So it's really, like I was saying earlier, an opportunity for us to connect with the community one-on-one, and then like show up with our experience and our hard lessons learned, and in a more intimate setting, help and serve them in any way we can, so that they can overcome. So yeah, we got speakers, we have the on-demand call, schedule whenever you want. What else? We have the socials, right? We have a few on socials once a month on Sundays, first Sunday every month.
I forgot about probably the most important one for the growth was the weekly accountability calls.
We have weekly accountability calls in Fuel Hunt Rise.
Because that's something a lot of people sign up for that we didn't realize when we started it, Fuel Hunt Rise, that people need the most. People want accountability. Like they want a team or a group that's going to sit with them and be like, yo, did you get that done today? Like this week, like you said you were?
Yeah, not like a dick. Someone someone that's just overseeing them, someone that's invested in them.
Yeah, that's rooting for them too.
We have the same crew of killers every Wednesday evening on C1's accountability call, and we're all there for each other. It's not a like, hey, did you do it or not? Like, did you do it? It's not that. Yeah. It's growth oriented. I mean, there's an aspect of it there. We all hold ourselves to the expectation, to the high expectation we're going to do. That's literally one of the parts of the accountability call. Did I do what I said I was going to do last week? Yeah. I did what I said I was going to do last week, and this was what I'm going to do this week. But everybody's there because we're invested in each other. It's one of the most powerful things that flies under the radar of Fuel Hunt Rise. And I think there's even some Rise Eagles that are a little intimidated by it. Yeah. So I'm going to do a better job in Rise of saying, like, look, like, this is something that we want you to join so that we can invest in you too. Like, it's not a big brother type thing. I think that's when you use the word accountability. You know what I mean?
That word is a trigger word for me as well. Because I in the corporate world, they use that accountability word a lot. And it was really just... Well,
I mean, here's the thing. Like, we could rename it, but at the same time, like, there's also a reason why you're there. So it's like both. Growth and accountability Wednesdays or something. We'll paint it a little bit different. But yeah, we have those. I mentioned the social first Sunday of every month we get together. I would love to do it in person, but the few are spread all over the world.
Yeah, the world.
So it's over Zoom. And we get together and we just jam. We spend an hour together. What you work hard on this week? What do you got on deck for the next week? Got any challenges? We shoot the shit, about projects that they're working on. There's a lot of different expertise on the call. So we all help each other, again, grow. You know what I mean? So that's probably the most important thing, like the last truth that I dropped about entrepreneurship. If you want to make it easy to build a business, build yourself. The thing I want everybody to understand is you don't have to build yourself alone. You can join us in Fuel Hunt. You can join our community, right, to grow. Or if you're really serious about your growth, you can join Fuel Hunt Rise, right, and build yourself with people that are living the same lifestyle, that have the same dreams, and that have the same, quite frankly, work ethic, which is in short demand. Which is in short supply, rather, not demand. Short supply nowadays.
Well, also short demand, right?
Well, yeah. They're blowing my mind. Yeah, I guess so. I guess, yeah, you're right with that. All right, so let's talk before we let the few go. Gear benefits for Fuel Hunt Rise. They're gear benefits too, like all the great stuff that you'd expect. Unlimited free shipping on all of your orders. Unlimited 20% off on all of your orders.
Is that one time a month? The 20% off?
It's all unlimited now, bro. I made
good to know.
Listen.
Good to know.
I made the executive decision. It's all unlimited now. Unlimited free shipping, unlimited 20% off, early access, obviously to new drops.
That's a big thing, early access, and also the exclusive Rise drops. Like,
yeah.
there are tees that you might be seeing on Instagram or that we've reposted. You're like, oh, I didn't see them even fucking drop that shirt. And realistically, it's because we're dropping them in
Rise.
Our Rise private.
Yeah, the
community.
Rise only drops. And then you have, priority customer service, like skip the line customer service, and a bunch of other gear benefits that are more gear oriented. So it's a great program. Right now, we are running a full year of Fuel Hunt Rise, and this is kind of like carried over from November because it was so popular. We're running a full year of Fuel Hunt Rise for like less than, it's obscene. It's like less than 19 cents a day or something.
And there we go. Just selling things.
Put it this way. You got to at least believe you're worth that investment in yourself, right? 19 cents a day. Come on now. What you're going to get out of it is far more than what you put in.
Yeah, and it's like if you don't have the money to go to these masterminds and think, like realistically, you should attend them to rub elbows with people that are doing the things you want to do. But like if the littlest investment you can make is like $70, like
yep, for a year, for an entire year,
to put yourself at least virtually in the same room as a lot of people that are doing things that you want to do and achieve, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you're talking about like being for these the Nest Live for the speaking part of it. You're in the room with Bedros. There's Craig. There's 15 of us there at that time, because a lot of the Fuel Hunt Rise Eagles watch the replays, but it's live Q&A. You know what I mean? Like anything.
Bedros, a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur.
Yep, absolutely.
Like any question you want, like for pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
But and the same thing, like even if you want to be a professional athlete, like we've had Cody on there, Sean will be on there
Colin
this month, Colin Top. Like you have the opportunity to ask a professional athlete any question about their training.
One of the most powerful things that I think comes from the pro athlete Rise talks, speakers that come on, is the fact that their story is no different than yours. Yeah. Like the beginning of their stories is no different. And in many times it's much worse, more challenging, harder than your current circumstances. So you're sitting there and you're listening and you're like, oh my God, like it puts things in perspective for you that it's not just possible for you, it's also probable with the hard work and living the rules of the few.
One thing that stuck out to me with Colin's story was when he just got signed his biggest.
So you're talking Colin Thompson, tight end, NFL tight end.
Yes.
Yep.
He had just gotten signed. I believe this is the story, but he got signed to the Giants. His first, like literally coming out of college.
Yep.
And then his appendix burst, and he got cut.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Literally, he just had the pinnacle of his career to the worst day of his career. He was out on the street. He had to carry his stuff out in trash bags. He said.
Yeah. He carried out his.
And that just I was like, if you can come back from that, right? Like.
Yep.
What can't you what can other people not come back
exactly
from? Yeah.
And that's not the only setback that he's had throughout his
there
career.
Are more.
There are more, and
but that was just one that stood out to me. I was like, wow,
punch in the face
you
type
just reached the
setback.
pinnacle of your life, and
for sure
you have to start over.
For sure, yeah. So to hear Colin's story, to hear Cody's story, right? You got to be in Fuel Hunt Rise with us. For our Eagles, and our new Eagles and our existing Eagles that are listening, if you go to fuelhunt.com/rise, you can see all of the benefits that Drew and I just ran through. And we hope to see you in there if it's for you, if you're serious about your growth. All right, so truths about entrepreneurship. Anything else you want to cap off with? I think we covered a lot. And
I think if you just take the tips from this podcast and apply them to your business, you'll.
these are multi-million-dollar truths that you need to know. And I think that if you listen carefully enough, right, to the lessons, and then you apply the lessons, you will see progress no matter where you're at in your entrepreneurial journey.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. As always, I appreciate you chopping it up with me, man.
Likewise,
This was a great episode. We'll let the few go so they can do the hard work that they're meant to do. One thing that I will leave you with, Eagles, always choose effort over entitlement. Always choose hard work over handouts. No one owns you. No one owes you. You're one of the few. Now let's hunt.